Don't blink, it's your boy Ink coming for another episode, another review. It is season one, episode 5 of The Walking Dead. It is I should write the title, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's something that's super important, right? Because title can be often like they can often mislead you. So we start with a Rick talking to Morgan, and I have to say those scenes they're phenomenal because not so much about Rick talking to Morgan. It's not about so much about Morgan hearing Rick. It's about Rick talking to somebody. And the what I find fascinating about Morgan is he's not part of the group. So Rick can talk shit about the group to Morgan without consequences, right? So it's almost a journal, and the fact that Rick has his journal, and that he confide his feelings to, or how he feels to Morgan, but not his family, is weird, but not so weird. I think that psychologically wise, Rick feels that Morgan isn't there, so he's basically talking to nobody, right? And by talking to nobody, he's actually talking to himself, and by talking to himself, he can be completely honest, right? And the second scene where we know that Amy and Andrea. Amy was bitten, and Andrea has to kill her. It's not such an important scene per se. Um, unless you go meta, unless you go and look at other scene, then it becomes important because you have again the fact of how it transformed. We never saw that, right? And you can look at the same episode for Jim transformation. Jim transformation is a lot more violent. He become very sick. He become very ill. Amy was peaceful. Amy was also a godsend in the and she's a godsend in the sense that we're seeing the complete transformation, right? And the next episode is CDC, so we're gonna go in a territory where they actually study then transformation. The fact that we get to see it now is kind of good because it's season one. Let's not forget it's season one. I'd rather be seeing it in season one and it's season fucking 7, right? And Amy, there's a couple of scenes with Dale saying, "Oh, how much she meant to him," but the scene is more about Dale trying to help Andrea on how to mourn, because it can be like a daunting thing to mourn for somebody. Or again, we're seeing the scene with Jim that's transforming. Um, I mean, it's kind of cool because we're we're seeing it's kind of cool and kind of not cool. We're seeing a different version of the transformation. We're seeing a very lucid or not lucid Jim. The problem with Jim, and as multiple times he's been shown to be an unstable character. For example, digging the grave. For example, trying to fight. And even if he was right, if he knew if he was wrong, it doesn't matter. He acted in a fashion where he scared the people. You can't do that, bro. So the fact that Jim is a bit unstable, like his reaction, sure, it's a cool way to showcase the infection, how it starts. Right? It's a cool way to showcase that, oh, Jim is infected. Amy was peaceful. Jim is not peaceful. But it doesn't add up because again, Jim is unstable. So maybe his perception is his reality. So his perception changed the way he sees things, right? And it's also confusing because you got of two sense of transformation into zombies, and I get that it has to sort of like, oh, not all people are gonna transform the same way, but it also take off because why would you show two different in the same episode, right? If you, it would have been more powerful if we saw it like completely different episode, and they're like, yeah, well, that person was different, so that's why they're transforming, the transformation or their idea of what transforming is different. I would have preferred that. However, I'm not that sticky with the situation. There's a couple of good scenes in the woods between Rick and Shane. There's a lot of fighting between Rick and Shane, and when I was younger, when I first watched this episode, it was almost we know that's. I think in the comic, it is better explained how Shane he still loves Lori, he still loves Carl, and there's a scene where you know, he want to get rid of Rick because Rick basically stole everything from him, right? And there's a scene before where Ricky said, "Oh, you lost your family," and Shane is like, "How dare you? I lost my family because I was protecting yours." So of course he gets mad, and then you have a scene where he had the opportunity to shoot Rick. As a kid, I said, "Oh, maybe it is something we could see. Maybe it is something that could be happening, right?" But no, 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 no. And yeah, uh, it's just hard to me that we're getting this scene because if it was better, I could have bought that Shane was he was thinking about killing Rick. But the way it was put, I knew he wasn't gonna do it, and it's not because it's spoiler. It's just because how it's set up. You know, I knew who. Seeing that Jim is sick, the band decided to go to Washington D.C. Right, to go to the CVC, which is a governmental facility, and explore it. Um, you know, they know that they need to move away. They know that they need to move away from the city. So I feel like Jim or not, this would have happened. I like that the fact that Jim had to be sick for them to move because it's a timely matter. Take out Jim. You can say a week, you can say 2 weeks. We saw that Amy was transformed after 2 days and Jim was transformed after 3 days. So we know we have a time zone and we have a time lapse to move along the story, and it doesn't matter how quick it goes because you have a reason to make it go quick. The first season is only 6 episodes. I don't care if they're an hour. I don't care if it's 40 minutes, right? 6 episodes, not a lot of time to tell a story. So yeah, so they go to the CVC, they see a dead zone, and it's kind of cool because again, it's always about Shane and Rick, but it's not Rick and Shane are the same side of the same coin. Like Shane is thinking about survival. Rick is thinking about human, right? Shane is like, yo, if you didn't go to check out those weapons, every people they would have survived. You would have been able to help us. And Rick is like, yeah, I sacrificed a little to save the few. But then Shane, we sacrifice a little to get to defend ourselves. But Shane, he's thinking about surviving, and if that is to stand, to have a last stand, everybody together, and kind of die, everybody together. That's what it is. When you think that there's the same perspective, but Rick was trying to get the gun to protect the group, and Shane was trying to get Rick to stay to protect the group, right? I think in this particular case, Rick is right because they couldn't have predicted that the zombie was gonna be attacking, and the chance that if they knew that zombie was gonna be attacking, then Rick would have stayed. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We go back to the CVC. We know the CVC. We get to see the scene where there's a scientist that's still here. So we know there's still somebody here. They don't open the door. We later learn in another episode that it's because, it is because, it's kind of cool actually. We later learn it's because we have no power left. So if they open the door, they're fucked, right? So yeah, so Rick is like, oh, you were wrong, you were wrong, you were wrong. Then the door opened and Shazam, the door is open. I'm gonna have to give special mention because I want to do like as complete as possible, like a review. There's moments in this episode where I'm not sure how it's gonna help us narratively, but there were moments that I found interesting, right? I want to make use of my thermos because I want to see how much I can have in it. It's like too much for a coffee or 2 coffee, right? There's a scene where it's super cool. This is gonna be a spoiler section. No, before the spoiler section, I like the fact that Dale is this constantly moral group. He's this constantly moral compass. He's always trying to do the better thing, and he's always trying to make sure that people are happy or okay. The problem with that is you get a zone where you got Rick and Shane, and Rick is trying to be moral, Shane is trying to be survival. So in the original comic, it was cool because you had two sides, and those two people, Shane and Rick, could be right? And it was more about, okay, are you more like Shane or are you more like Rick? And Dale does kind of come as the moral, and he's often gonna side with Rick other than Shane, and it does push us to believe a bit in Shane, bit more in Rick. The nicest thing about Walking Dead was the next thing about Walking Dead is you had to choose. What would you do in this situation? Would you be a good person or would you try to survive? Right? So although Dale often adds a little something, adds a little wisdom, add a little humanity to the group, it does take off a bit from the choosing this or choosing that, right? If you have two options and there's a third option, what I'm trying to say, there's nothing too much. We have two options, Rick and Shane, right? Rick good, Shane survival, right? It doesn't matter what you do, you have to choose one of the two, right? With Dale coming in with a third option, it's more confusing. It's not more about it's not more about being good or surviving. It's being extremely good, being good, and surviving. And if you have a choice between those three, you know that extremely good is gonna get you killed. Surviving is gonna mean that you're gonna be an asshole, but suddenly being only good seems super viable. So it comes and mix the cards a bit. The next scene is gonna be super spoiler. So if you didn't watch The Walking Dead, get away. If you watched it, enjoy. There's a scene with Morales, right? And Morales is like, yo, I have to take my family. We have to go. We have to leave this place, right? And Rick's like, yo, it's your choice. Don't worry about it. Rick does give the radio. It does give the channel of the radio to Morales. And we later learned that Morales become part of the Savior. So Morales, it's weird because no, it doesn't work. I thought it was gonna be able to do it, but no. Morales was loyal to Rick. When they meet again, Morales is like, yo, I'm gonna kill you. I don't care if I have to kill you. I don't care if who you are. I don't care if we're friends. If we were friends, I'm still gonna kill you. But here we have Morales who has a code. So if he had the code, why did he give it to the Savior? And the Savior, we know that their main goal was basically to bully people into giving them resources. Which means, as soon as Rick would have been in Alexandria, the Savior could have attacked. As soon as Rick went into the hilltop, and let's remember how it goes. And the people of Alexandria, the people of the hilltop. We'll go to the hilltop first, and then we meet the people with Alexandria. But Negan, technically, it's not. He had to deal with the green top. He had to deal with Alexandria. Rick was the coming person to shuffle the card. A weak person being aided by a stronger to defeat a middle person, right? And if Morales was able to listen, he would have been able to spy on Rick, and then the whole thing would have gone. But he, for whatever reason, forgot the name of the channel or was loyal to Rick. My issue with that is, if he was loyal to Rick, why did he want to fight with Rick? And if he wasn't loyal to Rick, why wouldn't he have given a radio? Now you have to understand that this is going on in like season 9, right? So there's 9 years coming along, right? But still, little thing. I love you guys. Peace.